Hey there, everybody. It's Psych Chrissy here, your no BS psychologist, coming live, coming straight at you on her Well AF podcast. How the heck are ya? Welcome to episode 1. I'm kicking off with my series, Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself. Number 1, it's one of my favourite rap songs. And number 2, I just named the series on the basis that too many people do not actually check the way that they're functioning and the way that they're thinking and the way that they're looking at the world. So the aim of the Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself series is to actually get you guys reflecting on stuff. That's right, the old self-reflection, a bit of the development of the old self-awareness. It is actually useful, peeps. It actually is. So today I'm going to focus on managing worry, overthinking, worry warts, people that suffer from anxiety. Because let's face it, it's such a pain in the butt to have your brain on overload. Have that little thinking sign that you would normally see on the computer. What is that? It's like an hourglass. Or no, the little worry thing. It goes round and round and round and round and round. Does your brain do that? And I bet you your brain does that at the most inconvenient times, like when you're about to go to bed. Bloody pain in the butt overthinking is. But Psych Chrissy is here. She's got some strategies. She's here to make a difference. She wants to help all the peeps out there with their worrying and their overthinking. And she's got just the strategies that can help get you through. So, why the heck do we worry about things? Well, look, worry is formed on the basis that we actually believe that we're going to get some sort of answer out of it. We're going to get some sort of resolution. If we keep searching in the grey matter, something's going to crop up. But as you and I know very well, nothing comes out. All it does is creates this heightened sense of anxiety, this feeling that you're not getting a resolution, this feeling, and it starts to snowball. And you might start with one worry and end up with 20 worries, and it just starts getting worse. So worry is an unhelpful way of managing anxiety. Don't get it confused with problem solving, peeps. Problem solving's got nothing to do with worry, because worry's this just round and round circular experience that you just absolutely get nothing out of. So what the heck do we do about it? Well, number 1 is that you have to realise when you're worrying. Self-awareness, guys. I know that it can be challenging. Self-awareness, it's a tricky thing because it requires you to be able to call yourself out. It requires you to be able to know when you're engaging in this circular kind of worry experience that you're just getting nothing out of. So if you can notice your worry and go, hang on a minute, what's going on here? Am I going round and round in circles? And you can call yourself out on it. That's a really good way of managing that kind of round and round, silly, round the merry-go-round experience that just gives us nothing. So calling yourself out of the worry zone is one helpful strategy of being able to just get yourself back in the moment and going, hang on a second, what's going on here? One of the other things that I really encourage my clients to do, and look, I'm not the most, I'm pretty out there as far as some of my strategies go, and I'm pretty hard-hitting sometimes, in that, look, worry is just a waste of bloody time. And the more that ruthless you are with yourself about it, the better that you're able to snap yourself out of it. So recognising that calling worry a waste of time and really getting good at noticing when you're getting caught up in worry cycles or habits or round and round is actually a very productive way of snapping yourself out of it. But the other thing too is that I don't know whether you guys have ever heard of mindfulness. It's kind of the buzzword at the moment. And mindfulness is the habit of being able to ground yourself in the present moment without judgment. So worry's worst enemy is mindfulness coming to the table and going, you know what? Why don't you notice that smell over there? Or why don't you notice that sound over there? Or why don't you just take a few deep breaths and notice your breathing pattern? And Worry's sitting in the grey matter going, holy shit, she's about to destroy me, the old mindfulness. But mindfulness is amazing for that because it breaks the cycle of worry. It gets you grounded in the moment and present focus and can help you disengage from those circular patterns that start to eventuate when you get stuck in worry cycles. Now, I was at a conference the other day, guys. Conferences, they're a bit hit and miss these days in psychology land, but I did some training around apps. And one of the apps that I came across was the Reach Out Worry app. Now, this is available for download, and I'm not paid for this endorsement, guys. Don't worry, settle down. I'm actually not that famous. But there is a worry app that I found in my app training. I mean, basically, it gets you to allocate worry time, which is a legit psychological strategy for managing worry. And the app, when you're worrying, it gets you to get in there and type all your worries down and then allocate yourself a time to focus on those worries. Because what happens is when we over-engage in worrying, it becomes this time unlimited experience where we could sit there for bloody hours before we notice, oh my God, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. How did I get into this situation? So the worry app, the Reach Out Worry app, really does help you contain worry. So just get your worries in there, put them aside, set yourself a 7 p.m. kind of alert where your phone will go off and it'll say, hey, Psych Chrissy, it's worry time. You got 10 minutes, go. It helps you really sort of contain those worries if you really feel the need to kind of revisit some of that stuff. And it, more than that, it gets you practicing, just trying to get your worries into a spot, shrink it down to a certain time frame, and even potentially just learning that that's not a very productive exercise anyway, that you can eventually let go of your worry time when you realise that it's quite fruitless. So that's a helpful strategy that we can use. There's 1,000,001 worry strategies, the Psych Chrissy podcast episodes, I really do want to keep them short and sharp, but I want to deliver one more strategy that I love. It's really helpful too, because sometimes when we worry, things get out of control. Like we predict things that are just like, ridiculous. We start worrying about crap that's probably never going to happen. We start imagining these scenarios that are absolutely out of control. Like, for example, if you're going to present something, we're going to do some public speaking. That's always a worrying trigger for people. We just hate public speaking. Psych Chrissy doesn't mind it though, clearly. Does not mind a public speak. But yeah, I think that, when you start engaging in imagery around, and I'm going to get up on the podium or I'm going to stand up in front of everyone and I can just imagine that people are going to start laughing at me and I'm going to say the wrong words and I'm going to get, we start making all of these really unhelpful predictions. It's very important that you take perspective in this circumstance, that you really go, hang on a minute, what evidence have I got for that? Am I blowing things out of proportion? Am I thinking about this situation in a catastrophic way? And I don't even have evidence for the fact that any of that stuff's going to happen. And you can, again, snap yourself out of it. So taking perspective and challenging some of those unhelpful worrying thoughts in your mind can also be helpful for managing worry. So there you go, guys. There's some Psych Chrissy tips on managing worry. We need to stress less, guys. We really do in this day and age. We spend far too much time in our minds worrying about stuff that probably is never going to happen. And we need to start engaging in skills that are going to help us get away from that unhelpful circular motion that is the chain of worry. So there you go, guys. There is my first episode podcast of my series of Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself. Are you a worrier? Do you need to stop it? Can you try some of my strategies? That would be awesome if you could. My next episode, gonna be a good one. Does anyone out there do a little bit of making a mountain out of a molehill? Again, another anxiety-related thinking pattern that does tend to trip people over. So if you're keen on that, join me for my next podcast episode that looks at thinking patterns that are very much exaggerated and overinflated and quite sort of over the top. Are you an over the top thinker? Join Psych Chrissy for episode 2 of her series of the Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself podcast. See you then, guys.